In the wake of Mark Twain, I've reached the country which intoxicated him more than any other, India. A century ago, on his journey around the world, he had been unable to restrain his excitement. A bewitching place, a bewildering place, an enchanting place, he wrote. Today, he would see how little has changed beneath the surface. Indians still know their place. They are born into a caste, and this determines who they may or may not marry. Such certainty intrigues me, since my life has been a growing number of uncertainties. Is it India's endless acceptance of the inevitable which makes it seem so timeless? Where better to begin my journey than tea in the Himalayas with a god? Mark Twain's first impressions of India were of swiftness and energy and confusion. That was before he caught the train to Darjeeling. Once a posh Victorian resort, Darjeeling, meaning the place of the thunderbolt, sits 7,000 chilly feet above sea level. At this pace, I might as well be quite literally following in his footsteps.
I think we've hit top speed now.
There's time to enjoy the view, but how many other trains get stuck in traffic jams?
Sometimes we wonder if it's going to make it, especially when we're overtaken by small boys walking. God, here's a bus. Come on, beat them to it.
From the bottom, this is a 9-hour trip. The return, I'm told, is considerably quicker.
See you later.
Like any other ancient thing on a long journey, there are frequent stops to take on water, with enough time for passengers to do the contrary.
Competition's over. All right, you've won.
Darjeeling was glamorous once. When Twain came, a magnet for colonial socialites, high flyers, tea barons, adventurers. Today, apart from unreliable trains, what trace remains of those times? How quickly has Darjeeling reclaimed itself from its British overlords? Fragments remain, misspelled echoes like Windermere Hotel, irrelevant, touching, and a little sad. Here still are cucumber sandwiches, tiffin, and gentleman's relish.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
The British always knew how to have fun. Hot water bottles on request. And on the piano, the industrious Miss Cannaday.
It is a 7-day week. We're playing, for tea, cocktail, and dinner.
Yes.
And sometimes we don't have the other programs, so I'm the only star performer. But then again, it's not a concert hall. It's not Carnegie Hall or Wigmore Hall. It's just to create the ambience in a hotel. And you play a bit of this and a bit of that down memory lane.
Guests here are allowed to sing along only at Christmas. And time is so frozen, I half expect Mark Twain to join me in the gloom.
Oh, I love that. I won't even look at what you're doing. Yes, whatever you like.
Miss Canada's playing slumbers on, and already I feel detached from the bewitching and enchanting color of Twain's India. Dreary yellow and brown appear to be the prevailing hue of empire in Darjeeling. Its legacy a partiality for flat caps and clubs, and an attitude.
It's a name of member. I'm not a member.
Before independence, Indians were banned from clubs such as this. Now, those clubs that endure are run by Anglophiles with a vision of born-again public school boys.
Shall I take you upstairs, sir?
Upstairs is Mr. Giesing, the club's secretary.
Thank you, sir.
To become a permanent member of the club, you should have a good personality, not the one who just have a small shop down there, wants to become a member of the club. We won't entertain that. He should be educated, with a good family background. The English people, they have started this, and they are the people who taught us the way of life, how to be disciplined. If a nation is not disciplined, he will never be civilized. I shall never call him a civilized nation. So discipline, punctuality, these are the basic needs of a man.
And a little corporal punishment for unpunctuality, perhaps. What else would a bamboo room be for? I was beginning to wonder if the British had ever left, if Twain's delirious India had disappeared after all.
Gracious, yeah, right from the very beginning.
Then I found it. The Gymkhana Club skating rink is today Darjeeling's top venue for marriages. Twain had visited a wedding, another Aladdin show, he said rather distastefully. But each individual's sense of identity is inextricably bound up with their duty to what family and society expect. What ties Twain's India to mine is that these deep social rules have hardly changed at all.
So it's symbolical that marriage should take place on a skating rink. But when does the actual ceremony begin? Is it very short?
No, I mean, in fact, the boy was already with the girl.
Oh, I see.
A week back.
Okay. Well.
It's a elopement marriage.
Absolutely.
Love marriage.
Yes.
Rather than wait for an arranged match, today's couple had actually fallen in love. A lapse local culture deals with sensibly by calling it an elopement marriage. Still, they get their reward, an unromantic reception in a virtual aircraft hangar. Twain had described India as the cradle of the human race, birthplace of human speech, the mother of history. Where else could one pray within earshot of the gods? Twain actually met a god and was favorably impressed. I wondered if I would be. Only a snowball's throw away from Tibet, Darjeeling is the home to many refugees from Chinese aggression. The monks in this monastery settled, intending one day to return home with their culture intact. It's a sense of destiny which operates outside the timescales of superpowers. Each Tibetan Buddhist order has its link to the Dalai Lama. Presiding over this one is the Rinpoche. 800 years old, he is this monastery's endlessly reincarnating spiritual leader. In his current manifestation, he's just 11. Found in poverty, age 2, and brought here for the rest of his life. When the Rinpoche dies, he will leave subliminal instructions in people's dreams, to help them locate the whereabouts of his next birthplace. For all his disciples, it's a restful and celibate lifestyle. It's a world of patience, inevitability, and relentless smiles. The one western face is the monk's English teacher, Sam Irons, the son of Jeremy.
I came here expecting kind of the serene, peaceful, the stereotypical monk, Buddhist monk, really. And I got here, and it's like a boys' school, you know. They're all. Well, I shouldn't really be saying this, but they're all joking and laughing. And
Well, that's what I noticed in the middle of all that. These two boys who were, one of them was giggling, and the other one was. It was contagious, evidently. And he tried to look in the other direction, and he couldn't bear it anymore.
But what do they talk about?
There's a bit about girls, actually. You wouldn't think it, but it's not really serious.
I would think it, but I've never been a monk.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
Now it's the Mani Puja, which means there are 5 pujas a day during this month, and normally there are only 2 pujas a day, and they have to chant it 100 million times during this month or so.
100 million times?
Yeah, I mean, each monk will do, I don't know, 1,800,000, and they add it together.
But who does the accountancy here?
The discipline master, Sering Punzok, the one who you were sitting next to.
Oh, he was. I mean, he left out several.
Well, yeah. So that's why they're in there so much at the moment.
Oh, I see. 100 million?
Yeah. They were going to have to do 200 million, but it was cancelled.
Oh, that's a very compassionate choice.
Sam's most important student is the Rinpoche himself. Even a foreign god should be able to speak English these days. For me, this is a lifetime first. I'm taken upstairs to his secluded chambers for a rare audience with a little boy whose fate was marked out at birth.
Well, this is a great honor.
First, the ritual passing of a white silk scarf.
Thank you for allowing me to come up here.
Little gods, I quickly noticed, seem to have friends in high places at Toys R Us.
What are all these things? That's an elephant.
Yes.
Yes? Yes. There's another elephant.
Yes.
It makes 2 elephants. And that's your telephone?
Yes.
Can you telephone on it? Just a toy telephone, yes.
This is what we've been doing for the last few months.
It's reassuring to find an 800-year-old so normal.
Would you like to see?
Oh, I can't.
Okay. What's your favourite car? Tell me your favourite car. Mercedes. Your favourite car. What's your favourite thing of this car?
I like this wheel best.
Good.
Where's the brake light? In front or at the back?
Back.
Splendid.
He'd never own a car. Better give him one for his album, I thought.
There's another Mercedes.
Yeah.
Like a royal prince, his destiny has surely been laid down. His life to be spent in a culture where continuity is all. How many billions of prayers will be chanted here? Over how long? The British came for tea, a mere footnote in history. Down in the plains, amidst the bustle of modern democratic India, choices in the present are limited by each person's ancient family past. What next?
My God. It's okay, I'm in, I'm on. Oh, I hope getting off is no more difficult.
When Twain descended on this same track inspector's trolley, he reacted with a mixed ecstasy of deadly fright and unimaginable joy.
This is like a Harold Lloyd movie. Mark Twain said that the only thing that really frightened him was the possibility of brake failure. That's a very eloquent piece of literature written from possibly the same trolley. I'm beginning to understand Mark Twain, but only just. It's not my cup of tea. Thank God! Ah! My God, there's nothing there at all. Don't look down. Don't look down. God, we've just crossed it. I'll have one of those, madam. Hold it for me. Ooh.
Mark Twain described his ride as the most enjoyable day I have spent on the earth.
But we're awfully close.
I'm now having serious doubts about his sanity. Indian railway stations charmed Mark Twain. Their shifting splendors beguiled him. The monster crowd of bejeweled natives. After Darjeeling, however, my expectations were low. But this is the dawn train from Delhi to Rajasthan, and I've never been so grateful for a plastic fork in my life.
Oh, thank you. Thanks very much.
I'm slumbering towards the desert state of Rajasthan, the heart of Twain's barbaric gorgeousness, land of crumbling forts and legends and maharajas. They surely will have changed, but by how much? Before I meet my maharaja, there's a small matter of my luggage. Twain had needed 14 porters, one of whom carried only a novel. As I'm traveling light, I manage with just 11. The art of negotiation in India is beyond me. Leaving my flunky to haggle with the porters, I escape for tea with the prince. The Umayyad Bahwan Palace was once one of the world's biggest private residences. It's still home to the Maharaja of Jodhpur, although today much of it is a hotel. Even so, today the Maharaja lacks neither influence nor affluence. Family tradition maintains it was built to provide work during a famine, a final act of patronage before independence swept the family's British friends away. And yet, whatever else may have changed in India, the present Maharaja's position atop the social tree, as that of his son, remained unchallenged.
Peter Ustinov.
The old Etonian Maharaja recalled how a prince was ranked by the number of guns the British would salute him with.
And they were allotted then various gun salutes, and my ancestor would refuse to accept that protocol.
Very wise.
And he left, and he had been allotted at that stage 19 guns. And he crossed the border back into the state of Marwar, and he had a 101 gun salute fired for himself, for which he was then demoted by 2 guns.
To 17. To 17. Oh, my God. I think it's terrible. Incidentally, I noticed just now that there's a very small Maharaja on his way to visit you. I heard a 1-gun salute.
Across town, the Maharaja's second home, the ancient fort of Jodhpur. The young prince who will inherit all this may chuckle gleamingly at jokes about status, but he'll be married by arrangement to a girl of his own high caste. There are few illusions here about crossing social divides. Like most people, I tend to put off my visits to the dentist.
Hello. You the dentist? Yes. Fantastic.
Where does he operate? Here?
Yeah, here.
My goodness. No, I've got no problem at the moment.
You want I put there?
No. I think I can do. Thank you very much.
You can try.
No. What is that?
This is turban.
Yeah, but they're stopping for a moment.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. You look like Maharaja also.
I am Maharaja. I look at the fort and I see someone has left the light in the toilet on.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. That's a waste of electricity. Who gave it me?
Yeah, you.
I give you. Oh, it came from you. Thank you very much. Very kind. The trap's horrendous. You become a Maharaja at the raise of a turban. Look how they all followed me. I could have done anything with them. Gives you to think. I think I'm going to enter Indian politics if it's as easy as that.
It was Indian politicians who undid the power of the Maharajas shortly after independence. And yet, aspects of aristocratic power, much as in Britain,
Thank you very much
endure.
indeed.
I've been invited to hand out the prizes at Mayo College, an exclusive boys' school founded for the sons of princes, but now needing to draw on the offspring of India's business elite. Its chairman is none other than my new friend, the Maharaja of Jodhpur, to whom Mayo's pupils clearly know how to defer in the ancient way. In an entertaining twist of cultures, the British Barmy Maharajas adopted a public school house system, marked with something very Indian. Each house would have its own particular coloured turban. To my immense discomfort, it was suggested I might ally myself with the orange house for the ceremony.
Would you like to have the safa tied?
I think it's a waste of time because...
No, it will just take 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Not less than 5
I don't
minutes.
know that I can... Oh, all right.
Oh, just try it. एक मिनट चला छोड़ के इनके बांध दीजिए. You're tying a Jaipur house safa.
Yes,
You got to hold this with one
I've
hand.
got to hold this.
Yeah.
I washed my hair this morning, so it may be quite rebellious. I feel like an old English sheepdog, you know?
This goes on.
This goes on.
There you are.
What do you think?
You must keep it on today.
No, I think I ought not to wear this for the ceremony. I feel really as if I'm mocking it, which I'm not.
No, not at all. You'll find even His Highness Gut Singh wearing a safa today.
Yes, but that's different. What do you expect me to do? What would the tactful thing be? I'm asking myself. We're no longer here, you say. We're visitors, and they'll do our best to make us feel at home. I talked to the Colonel about this. He suggested I should take half of it off. But then, of course, the whole thing disintegrates.
At least I was not the only one with turban trouble. Children here see their future success in a world which speaks English. But aren't their own traditions so much richer? Daisy, Daisy.
That's for me?
The Maharaja went to Eton at Oxford, not Mayo, and he took his throne aged 4, part of an Indian elite whose roots go deeper even than Eton.
Pulling your leg about the peacock throne. You should be sitting here.
Black Beauty, Treasure Island. Even the prizes reflect a confused affection for an alien imperial past. And how much more exotic the princely titles Twain adored. The Nizam of Hyderabad, the Nabob of Jabalpur, the Ahund of Swats. How good they taste in the mouth, said Twain. Are any of their sons winners today?
There you are.
Tonight, I've been invited to my second marriage celebration. The groom, Brijraj Singh, is a member of the Rajput caste, the aristocracy of Rajasthan, and is a distant cousin of my friend, the Maharaja of Jodhpur. All the rituals of life are preordained. He marries tomorrow a woman he is not in love with, having met her just 3 times. In India, the status, indeed the very identity of a woman, is strictly dictated by her relationship to a man, be it as daughter or husband. And the groom's sisters-in-law, Arundhati and Rana, seem comfortable with that.
This is the day of great excitement.
Oh, yes.
For everybody.
For everybody, and especially for the boys' side. Like the groom's family, today is the most important day.
Have you been through this all or not
Oh,
yet?
yes.
We've all
We're all,
Have you?
Oh, yes. We're
married in the same way.
We're sisters-in-law.
And all arranged?
All arranged. Typically traditional.
We don't have any love marriage, anything.
No. But it works very well, apparently.
It does. It does.
It does.
The customs of India, wrote Twain, confront you with riddles at every turn. In Western eyes, one tradition is more troubling than most. As the groom Brijraj departs, a simple ceremony nearby is a reminder of a lifetime surrender each new bride makes, sometimes unto death. His sister-in-law, Arundhati, is proudly remembering the suicide of her grandmother. It's very rare, but widows still occasionally leap onto the funeral pyres of their husbands. Attempts to outlaw sati, as it's called, have never quite driven it away. The law seemingly impotent in the face of ancient tradition, one which Arundhati and her husband still admire.
She committed sati on 18th October 1954.
My goodness.
My grandmother. It's very voluntary. She wanted to do it. She loved her husband a lot and she wanted to go with him.
I mean, she was a Rajput lady. And, she'd rather give herself up, than to, live without her husband.
Would you expect her to do that for you?
Would you? I don't know. I don't think so.
If you die before your wife, what would you hope your wife to do or to be?
Now that's a touchy question. Well, I don't know. It depends when I die. If I died young, it's her choice. But if we were old and I died, yeah, I suppose we should carry on. But the society here is such that they won't let her carry on.
It's always been like that and I think it'll always be so in Rajasthan. I think we prefer it this way. Say in case if something happens to him, I would never want to marry. Never. I'd look after the kids or whatever, but never look at any other man except my husband. I'd like it to be that way. Because for us, our husband is our God.
You in your Western society where, you go and get married again, but it's taboo here, it doesn't happen. There are a few cases right now. We have some cases in the cities, so people are changing, times are changing. But in the olden days, it was you'd rather be dead.
For all that, in Rajasthan today, support for sati is said to be growing. I must move on. With death and sex, my unrelenting travel companions. The delirium of those days in Bombay has not left me, and I hope it never will. So wrote Mark Twain after he'd got home. Bombay, he said, was a vast city, 1 million strong. But another 12 million have moved in since then. In my exploration of why India seems so immune to outside infection, I've become intrigued by marriage and matchmaking, but not with all that goes with it. It's taking me now to the Times of India's matrimonial ads department. Marriage, surely, is the moment when individuals must face up to who they are and hear what their caste and creed have prescribed or arranged for them.
What are you looking out for, bridal? Which category, which...
Category in the sense, I didn't...
See, which caste you like here?
Tamil.
Unlike the West, the Lonely Hearts industry here generates no smutty innuendo. It's respectable, and it's usually your family which places the ad.
I'm only here on behalf of a distant relative.
Mr. Anand, whose name means love in Hindi, is in charge.
The hits that we are getting.
He explains that each day brings 18,000 responses by internet alone. No category seems uncatered for.
In religion caste communities, these are the options available. Agarwal, Anglo-Indian, Aga Khani, Brahmin, Buddhist, Christian, CKP, Jews, etc., etc. Then in language region, a similar choice: Bengali, Goan, Gujarati, Himachali, Kannadiga, Keralite, Kashmiri, Marathi, Mangalorean, Nepali, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Color is a very important point in complexion of a person. The color fair or very fair has got a premium value in most Indian communities. Then there are certain complexions which you may not have heard of anywhere else. Wheatish.
Wheatish?
Wheatish.
That's when I don't feel well, I look wheatish.
Okay. Then there is dusky.
Dusky.
Wheatish and dusky are terms which are used to mention that the person is not dark. Dark is me. Dark complexion. But maybe if my mother would have put an ad, she would say dusky boy.
Oh dear. I'm confused. Won't it take away a little of the personal aspect of an ad? Because sometimes ads have sense of humor, which I think is also important. I mean, if I was doing an ad for myself, I would deliberately say overweight, overage, flatulent, old idiot, eager to find a widow of any age. And I'm sure I'd get hundreds of applicants, which I would probably turn down.
We would describe you as very fair, well-built,
yes, moderate,
convent educated.
Convent educated?
Yeah, that's a very important thing again. Convent educated is a convent educated or convented is a term which crops up in many ads.
Go on, Reverend Father.
Which sort of it says that this person is anglicized.
Oh, actually,
they wouldn't write anglicized.
No, they wouldn't do that now, especially now after freedom and liberation.
But they would say convent educated.
Others less fortunate must find their partners where they can. It is possible to cut across the lines of Indian society, bypassing caste and birth. I'm in search of the intriguing Kavit Kirpalani, or KK, a very different kind of marriage broker who caters to the chronic and the desperate.
Marriage for widowers, divorcees, orphans, handicapped, blind, white patches, mentally retarded, AIDS, any defects welcome. We have to go to Kavit Kirpalani, the matchmaker, Cripps Stationery, which is next to the Royal Chemist, which is next to the Dongri Fish Market, and in any case, all that is close to Ketayun Mansion, which in itself is somewhere in the Shihahi Raje Marg. Do you know where we're going?
I've arrived, and KK, stationer and self-proclaimed marriage messiah to his extraordinary clients, is ready with rare pearls of wisdom, but busy.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
Hello, good morning to you. This is KK Matrimonial Services. There are many rich people, they want only a homely girl with simple qualities. But it is also the opposite. There are many people who want a rich girl with any defects. We don't like to give proposals only on the basis of financial stability or qualification or education or business. Apart from this, for us, more important is the matching of the nature and how much they get along well with each other. So somewhere the nut has to be fitted to the bolt. So that fixing of the nut to the bolt is my work. Okay.
Are you married?
No, I'm not.
You're not. Are you going to advertise?
There's always a tendency, a person who is running an ice cream shop, you rarely find him eating the ice cream.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, of course.
You always find him selling the ice cream.
Yes, yes.
Once in a while he eats ice cream.
Yeah.
I don't think this is ice cream. The day is going to bound very near when I will be eating the ice cream.
That's what I was wondering. That's all I was asking.
No problem.
No problem.
No problem.
No problem.
Apart from KK, everyone, it seems, is after a mate. Not always for entirely wholesome reasons. His next potential client wanted a wife, any wife, but only if she could provide him with a Bombay home.
The main problem is about living in a Bombay. I want that only. Not her money and not her father and mother and this and that and car and bungalow. I don't want this.
Then you want what? Your friend says you want financial backing.
Financial backing in what purpose? Means about a living. I want to settle in a Bombay.
No, but that is all right. But you have to clear your... Tell me, do you want an accommodation arrangement to be done?
Yeah.
It is clear that you want a girl, which girl or woman, it doesn't matter. But she has her own flat.
You have to become a puppet in their hands.
Yeah, you are right.
It's fact.
Your self-respect goes away.
Yeah. It's true.
They may not treat you as a husband because they know that you are living in their own flat. So their obligation is there over you.
Yeah.
So maybe in the future your pride and ego may get hurt in the future.
What he said that you have to go for a wife. Your wife becomes the husband and you becomes the wife.
There are chances. I don't say it may happen to you, but there are every chance. They may even ask you to perform some outrageous sexual acts, which may be beyond your abilities.
Yeah.
You have to be manipulative. You should know how to keep all the parties satisfied. Mother-in-law, father-in-law, son, brothers and all. Only then you can ride the horse.
Yeah,
otherwise you will not be able to do anything.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. In your way, you're absolutely right.
So you now I have told you everything. It depends. Now you think whether you are interested to hand over the responsibility of completing your work to me or not.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Twain would surely not have been shocked by talk of sex. Did he not write, "Be good and you'll be lonely"? A century ago, the lingam, or unsubtle symbol of fertility, was on view everywhere. It is garlanded with flowers, it suffers no neglect, he said. In India, any shame in the pleasure of sex is relatively recent, a Victorian prudery which the sexologist Prakash Kothari is determined to sweep away.
So if a man gets erection morning, afternoon, evening, bedtime, or after seeing a film, but not at the time of sexual intercourse, the problem is situational and not constitutional. What I want to tell you is that masturbation, there's no other activity which has been so roundly condemned, so frequently discussed and yet so universally practiced. Masturbation is beneficial and not harmful. Why?
Dr. Kothari has made a study of sex education in India over the centuries.
Depicting a lesbian love.
But they seem to be of the same...
These are also the same age, you are right.
The same different persuasions, but the same...
Yeah.
thing.
There are different varieties of, you see,
Varieties, the spice of...
Varieties of...
What's that?
Look at this ivory things.
What is it?
Ivory, penises of different varieties.
So
This is the non-circumcised one, this is the circumcised one, and partly circumcised. And this is how people used to educate them. This is about 250 years old.
And I can also imagine even Indian gynecologists playing chess with these.
Yes, yes, I have got the entire set with me.
There we are.
This particular education is not a new thing. It was imparted even in the 4th or 5th century. Kama Sutra was written at the end of 4th century. It was advised that both the partners should read Kama Sutra before and after marriage. Even if you look at our Gita, the holy book of Hindus, Lord Krishna mentions in the 10th Adhyaya that I am omnipresent, and in the human body I am present as sexual desire.
I'd had my fill of sex aids, an earful, so to speak. Some spiritual nourishment was required. Had I found it here, perhaps, at 5:30 in the morning? Despite appearances, the Bombay Laughter Club's daily dose of chuckle therapy does not have its roots in California. These amiably mad people trace the roots of laughter yoga back to the ancient Hindu texts. They told me that laughter like this reduces tension by releasing 2 chemicals into the body.
Is there any difference of the effect of laughing at something and laughing at nothing?
When we look at each other and when you laugh, it becomes spontaneous for us.
Yeah, each other face will make you laugh more. That is the reason we have been telling people to face each other.
When I go into the theatre and I make people laugh, occasionally, if I'm lucky, I don't really...
Yes, you made us laugh.
Simpler than I thought. Then I don't really think at that moment, wonderful, 800 people here, and I'm producing 2 chemicals in each. I don't really think that.
This is the only way to tone up the muscles of the face.
Oh, I see. Ha, he, ha, he, ha, he. How many of you are dentists?
I look into everyone's mouth.
Yes, well, now I understand everything.
She's coming here.
Birth, marriage, sex, now death. A riddle at every turn. I have come finally to Varanasi, or Benares, older than tradition, history, and legend, said Twain. A holy city bursting with temples, a sort of army and navy stores theologically stocked. To die on the banks of the Ganges ensures instant enlightenment. I was as close to Mark Twain as I ever had been.
1895, Mark Twain visited him. Now
In Benares a century ago, Twain had met a living God. Today, Raman Shankar worships at that same deity's shrine. This God, called Bhaskaranand had heard a great deal about Chicago, said Twain. Today, I can only meet this effigy's pale wooden eyes.
I feel in my past life, I was one of his disciples. I feel myself. I don't know exactly, there is no...
There's no proof.
Yeah, there is no proof.
No, just instinct.
But I feel this is my
Emotion.
belief.
Sure, sure.
Now I'll request you to concentrate. You may find some feeling. Concentrate on him.
Yes.
For a while. And you'll feel something.
I believe I've seen most of the greater and lesser wonders of the world, but I do not remember that any of them interested me so overwhelmingly as did that pair of gods. That is the man that Twain actually met and who we saw in effigy in the garden. And it's quite uncanny to think that this man, this guru, is still having the effect on a present generation that he had on Mark Twain. I only remember that I had to take my shoes off out of veneration, and my socks are in the laundry at this moment. Apart from that, I stared and stared, and was not exactly touched by grace, but admired the quality of the sculpture. But if you stare long enough and hard enough, and don't eat, and don't drink, I have a strange feeling that just before you die, you can really believe in anything they ask you to. In Benares today, there are no gods I know of, only a wise man, the venerated Guriji, with his own explanation for the apparent timelessness of India.
India was invaded by so many people, so many tribes, so many countries a number of times. And they all tried to destroy it. They all tried to turn it to their likings. The entire world has been our enemy. They invaded, they plundered, they killed, they looted us. But so far as Indian tradition and culture is concerned, India has never lost its originality.
Indian culture retains its timeless originality most strikingly in the traditions of death and immortality.
I think you, Sir Peter, you have heard of the Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, of course.
In the Bhagavad Gita regarding the spirit, it is said, it is the nature of fire to burn everything and to reduce it to ashes. But so far as the soul is concerned, it can never be reduced to ashes or burned by the fire.
I've often been asked whether I was frightened of death. And my reply is always, I can't remember having been frightened of birth. Right. It's legitimately frightened of dying, but not frightened of death.
This is where I take my bath. They are all welcoming me. Welcoming me.
You don't want to stop and take a bath now?
No, no, no.
Sure.
I'm bathing with you. In your love, in your affection.
But finally, what is timelessness? In India, there is an enduring belief in destiny, divinely inspired, which ensures a state of permanence, whatever superficial changes there may be. Next stop, South Africa, and changes more than superficial.
That's from the Highlands. I'd know it anywhere. Oh, dear me, yes. Isn't that marvellous? Right here in the middle of India, to go back to the Highlands. Oh, I can hear the skirl of the pipes.
Very good. I haven't room in my luggage for all that. Smaller, after all we've been talking about this morning.
बताइए।
1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32 33 34 35 36 37 38 39 40 41 42 43 44 45 46 47 48 49 50 51 52 53 54 55 56 57 58 59 60 61 62 63 64 65 66 67 68 69 70 71 72 73 74 75 76 77 78 79 80 81 82 83 84 85 86 87 88 89 90 91 92 93 94 95 96 97 98 99 100 101 102 103 104 105 106 107 108 109 110 111 112 113 114 115 116 117 118 119 120 121 122 123 124 125 126 127 128 129 130 131 132 133 134 135 136 137 138 139 140 141 142 143 144 145 146 147 148 149 150 151 152 153 154 155 156 1
Right, bring on the snake.